The story begins with a man named Ryland, who was inside a spaceship at this moment. He had been sleeping inside a sleep capsule for an unknown amount of time. Gradually, he started coming out of his medically induced coma. As soon as he opened his eyes, the ship's AI, Mary, began asking him some questions to determine whether his mental state was alright or not. But the problem was that Ryland couldn't remember anything at this point. At first, he couldn't even recall his own name. All of this made him very anxious. A robot arm was examining his body. Was examining him, but thinking it was a threat, he panicked and got up from the table. He started running around inside the ship looking for other people. After a while, he found a man, but as soon as he saw him, he was shocked because the man was dead. Now Ryland became even more frightened. He wandered through the ship's corridors trying to figure out where he was, and then he found a large window. When he looked outside, he realized he was in space. Seeing this, he was completely shaken. He looked around at his surroundings. He looked at the machines and realized something strange. He knew about these machines, but he had no idea how he knew. Then it dawned on him that he must be a scientist. The next room made him even more emotional. There, on large screens, videos of Earth's beautiful scenery were playing. Those videos reminded him of how far he had come. He put on clean clothes, and then the ship's AI, Mary, told him to record his daily diary, saying it would help keep his mental state healthy. But Ryland replied that let him talk to them. Then Mary told him that, except for him, none of the crew members had survived. He was the only one left. Hearing this, Ryland told Mary to take the ship back, that he didn't want to go wherever it was headed. But Mary said that command wasn't in the system. Then Ryland saw the sun on one of the screens. He thought he was still in the solar system. That's why he suggested sending a message to Earth. Mary told him that it would take about 12 years for the message to reach. Hearing this, he became worried. He checked the star map and that the star he was seeing wasn't the sun, it was some other star. He checked the fuel level and did some calculations. After looking at all the numbers, he realized that he was 113 light years away from Earth. That meant it would take a very long time to get home, and understanding this completely broke him. Just then, he got a headache and some old memories started coming back. He remembered that he was a molecular biologist, but later he became a school teacher. At that time, there was a lot of talk all over the world about a particular news story was going on. A strange line had appeared around the sun. He explained to his students that this line was called the Petrovich line, and it stretched from the sun all the way to Venus, gradually making the sun weaker. He told the children that if this process continued, the Earth would start getting colder within 30 years. One student got scared and asked, "Will life end, sir?" Ryland replied that the world's best scientists were trying to find a solution. Something or the other will surely be fixed before 30 years are up. Back inside the ship, Ryland shaved his beard. When he checked the supplies, he found some vodka. Since he was alone, he drank a little and ate some food as well. Then he looked through the belongings left behind by the crew and more memories came back to him. To ease his loneliness, he made a doll out of clothes and danced with it. He started writing notes on a board so he could understand who he was. Just then, another memory came back to him. One day after school, a scientist named Ava had met him. She had read Ryland's research paper. She had written that water is not necessary for life. Ryland asked her why she had come to him, saying that he had been fired from his job and was now a school teacher. Eva reminded him that he had called his senior a jackass, which was why he was fired. Then Eva told him that they had some samples from the Petrovich line, and after examining them, it seemed that Ryanon's theory, which had always been dismissed, might be correct. It could be correct. Hearing this, Eyes agreed to work with her. In the lab, he tested the samples. The samples were moving, but it was very difficult to see what they were made of. After many experiments, it was discovered that whatever this was, it was alive. But during testing, one cell was destroyed. Then, when its structure was studied, it was found that it was made of water. Seeing this, he became very irritated because his theory was proven wrong. Then he noticed that this cell, this light, absorb light and then use this energy to move from their place. Eva said that your theory is wrong, you can go home. But now Ryland's interest had been piqued. He requested, just give me these 3 cells for testing. After bothering him a little, Eva finally agreed. Now Ryland wanted to find out why these cells were moving toward Venus. Mercury is the planet closest to the sun, so why did they ignore it? To find out, he planned an experiment. He created an environment inside a box exactly like the one needed, just like the environment on Venus. As soon as the experiment began, these cells immediately went inside the box. As soon as this happened, Royal entered. If this box was opened, these cells would be released onto Earth. So Ryland sealed the lab with the help of a guard and turned off all the lights because these cells are attracted to light. Now, when he opened the box without any light, he saw 3 glowing cells. This meant that the cells were growing. This was proof that they needed both sunlight and carbon dioxide gas. To share his discovery, he immediately called Eva and said, "I've made a baby. I've made a baby." Later, the military took him by jet to an aircraft carrier. Our guy wasn't used to flying so fast, so he took a sleeping pill and slept, but as soon as he reached the carrier, he threw up several times. After that, Eva introduced him to the world's greatest scientists. All the others repeated his experiment and got exactly the same results. Those cells were now named astrophage. But the threat of the sun weakening still loomed. The scientists decided that they would have to produce 2 million kilos of astrophage. Ryland, confused, asked why they were increasing their numbers. That's when Eva revealed the secret of Project Hail Mary to him. In reality, it wasn't just our sun. Many stars around the world were dimming, except for one that was safe, called Tau Ceti, which is 11.9 light years away from Earth. The plan is that a spacecraft will be sent to Tau Ceti to find out why nothing is happening to that star. No human-made spaceship has ever gone that far. But it's not that we can't build such a spacecraft. The real issue is, how will we power it? Until now, we didn't have any fuel capable of such a feat, but now, with these cells called astrophage, they can easily be turned into the kind of fuel that can take us there. However, Ryland pointed out that we'll have to use it very carefully. That's because it's so incredibly powerful that using just 1 kilogram of it could blow up even the largest city. Eva explained this to him. That's why we're producing it on this ship in the middle of the ocean. The biggest and most dangerous part was that the spacecraft's fuel would only be enough for a one-way trip. In other words, the astronauts would never return. They would only be able to send data back with the help of some small probes. Ryland had now become part of this mission, and he remembered that returning from this mission was simply impossible. This mission was so dangerous because no one had ever done anything like this before. Only 3 people were going to be on this mission: a pilot, an engineer, and a scientist. The chances of this mission succeeding were very low. That's why the mission was named Hail Mary, meaning a final desperate attempt. By now, most of Ryland's memory had returned. He went back to his crewmates again. Seeing them filled his heart with emotion. He cleaned their bodies, placed their photos in the pockets of their clothes, and he spoke a few words, emotionally recalling memories. Crying, he promised that he would do everything he could to complete the mission. Then he sent both of his crewmates' bodies out into space. Sometime later, Mary informed him that their ship was approaching Tau Ceti, so the engines were shut down. As soon as the ship entered the orbit of that star, the ship's gravity turned off and Ryland began to float in the air. Struggling to steady himself, he looked outside. Here too, the Petrovich line was present, but the star was perfectly fine. Just then, he saw another spaceship nearby and he was completely shocked to see it. As soon as that ship came closer, Ryland immediately went to the pilot's seat and moved his ship a bit farther away. But after a while, the other ship came close again. The farther Ryland tried to go, the closer it got. Finally, that mysterious ship threw a small object toward him. Ryland got scared, thinking it might be a bomb, so he ignored it. The object hit his ship and then drifted away somewhere else. After a little while, afterward, another similar object was sent, but this time its speed was much slower. So Ryland thought, since the last one wasn't a bomb, I'll go outside and try to catch this one to see what it is. He put on his safety suit, quickly read the instructions, and went outside. He had never gone out into space before. With great difficulty, he managed to jump at just the right moment and catch the object. After coming back inside, he tried to open it, but it just wouldn't open. After some investigation, he found out that it was made of a gas called xenon, which was beyond his understanding because in our planet, xenon is just a gas. How do these aliens have it in solid state? Anyway, then he remembered that there was also a gravity generating system inside the ship. He turned on the artificial gravity and the ship started spinning. In just a few moments, gravity returned. Then he examined the object again. Scanning it again still showed xenon. This time, he twisted the lid and it opened. At that moment, Mary warned that there was an unknown body present in the room. Ryland immediately placed the object safely inside a box, and inside it there was a strange thing with lines drawn on it. When he opened the lid again, he found another small round object with rods attached to it. Suddenly, It slipped from his hand and stood upright on its own. Ryland matched it with the star maps and realized that the alien being was showing where it had come from. These beings had come from even farther away than Earth. Ryland arranged the rods to show Earth's location and sent this object back toward the alien ship. After a while, something like a tunnel began to form there. Ryland realized that the two ships were trying to connect. The tunnel joined both ships together. Wearing his suit, Ryland carefully crossed the tunnel and reached the window of the other ship. Suddenly, he saw something moving behind the window. He was so startled that he fell back into the tunnel. With great difficulty, he grabbed the wall and steadied himself, then went back to the window. This time, he saw an alien waving its hand. The creature showed him some small toys, a small Raichan and a small ships. By waving those toys, the alien signaled for him to go back to his own ship. As soon as Ryland went back, the alien removed the tunnel and turned its ship toward Rydar's ship so that gravity could be established there as well. Then the tunnel was reconnected. This time, when Rydar entered, there was gravity in the tunnel too. He showed a model of his ship made out of noodles. Now, as the alien creature came closer, Ryland saw that it looked like a moving rock. When Ryland said hello, the creature made a frightening sound. Ryland ducked down and picked up a wrench in his hand. This scared the other creature as well, so Ryland immediately apologized to it. As Ryland waved his hand, the creature started moving in the same way. Both of them kept striking strange poses like this for a while. Gradually, trust began to build between them. Then the creature tapped on the window and gestured for him to look behind. There was another message there. When he opened the message, he found a strange-looking collar. The creature was making odd gestures, indicating that Ryland should take off his helmet, but Ryland refused. Then, as he examined the collar closely, Ryland realized that the creature was trying to say, "I've made oxygen here, you can breathe." After thinking for a while, he gathered his courage and took off his helmet and was happy to find that he could breathe comfortably. Later, he looked at the previous message again and realized that the alien had shown the Petrovich line. This meant that the alien had also come here to find the answer to the same problem. Ryland went back into the tunnel and signaled that they could work together. But first, they would need to learn how to communicate with each other. He thought that math is universal. It's the same everywhere. So, he showed the measuring tape, but the creature just started playing with it like a toy. Then he showed his watch, but that didn't help either. Then Ryland noticed that it's dark inside the alien ship, and this creature doesn't have a face. He guessed that the creature might be blind. Maybe it navigates by sensing echoes of sound. Ryland named the creature Rocky. Then he went back to his own ship and modified his watch so that the numbers would be raised on the surface. When he showed it to the creature, whom he now thought of as Rocky, Rocky felt the numbers and did a little happy dance. Ryland tried to teach him the thumbs up gesture, but Rocky's hand was shaped differently. So he always did a thumbs down. After a while, Rocky brought another object with a rotating mark on it. Ryland realized that it was Rocky's watch. Then Ryland took his laptop and microphone into the tunnel. He pointed to each number and recorded Rocky's voice. Gradually, he started building a translator using AI to understand Rocky's language. In this way, both of them began to understand each other and their friendship and mission started progressing together. He started recording all his tests so that whatever he was learning, he could later send it back to Earth. The alien was making all his things out of a strange material that had no name, so Ryland named it Zero Night. One day, Ryland showed Rocky the astrophage. Rocky immediately recognized it and said that it was a very dangerous thing. This confirmed that Rocky had also come here because of the same problem. Rocky happily said that now he didn't feel alone anymore. Actually, he too had come with many others. But everyone died, exactly like what happened with Ryland's crew. So they decided that they would work together to save the stars. Now, with the help of models and the translator, Ryland explained all his research so far to Rocky. When Ryland was about to leave the tunnel to go to sleep, poor Rocky got scared that he might die. Then Ryland explained to him what sleeping meant. Rocky told him that in his world, everyone sleeps together to stay safe. Rocky said, "I want to sleep with you too." But Ryland, "Hey, don't say it like that. It sounds dirty." But then Rocky explained that he had seen his entire crew sleeping, but they never woke up. Then Ryland understood what he meant and agreed. He made a bed-like place and both of them slept together near the window. In a flashback, Eva introduced Rhinon to 3 astronauts who had been chosen for this mission. At that time, Rhinos was not part of the team. They told Ryland that there should be a system in the ship that would activate self-destruction after the mission was completed because they didn't want to die slowly from the astrophage. Ryland showed them a demo of the engine. The astrophage engine was so powerful that it melted a ton of metal in just a few seconds. On this day, Ryland was trying to make sense of his memories when he heard a sound. When he opened the door, he saw that Rocky had come into his ship wearing a small pressurized bubble suit. Rocky was impressed by the technology humans had created, but he told Ryland that the smell was spreading everywhere. "You are a dirty human." He said that both of them should work separately in their own ships. He said, "I'll just make a room here. If we work together, things will get done faster." Rocky didn't really listen to Ryland. And after all, he's not a dog, he's an alien, and he's more advanced than us. Ryland also found Rocky's way of eating very strange. Rocky could see through walls and his hearing was extremely sharp. That's why Ryland wasn't getting any privacy at all. While talking about their ship's technology, Ryland realized that Rocky's species knew nothing about radiation. Ryland explained to him that it was radiation that had killed his crew. Rocky survived because his workshop was near the astrophage, and astrophage protects against radiation. So they decided that they needed samples of the astrophage from around the sun. Isn't it different? Ryland separated the ships and took his own ship toward a nearby planet. The journey lasted for 11 days. During this time, Ryland showed Rocky recordings from Earth. Rocky shared that he missed his companion, in a way, his wife with whom he had lived for 186 years. This seemed very strange to Ryland. He learned that Rocky's species lives for more than 300 years. Just then, Rydos had another flashback. He was with the team, talking about the ship. At the party, something special happened to him. He wasn't feeling it, so he stepped outside. Outside, he met Eva. Ryat asked, "How can everyone be so happy? Everyone knows that these 3 astronauts are going to die. They won't be coming back." Eva explained that this is what camaraderie is. It helps them do difficult work. Then both of them went back to the bar and Eva started singing. Now, in the present, the ship had reached the planet. Ryland was amazed by the colors of the planet. He did a spacewalk and activated a light with a machine. The lights... Thousands of astrophage gathered, creating a beautiful glow. Together, they named the planet Adrian. After taking samples and running tests, they discovered that as many astrophage were arriving on the planet, not as many were leaving. This was very strange because they came there to reproduce. Another test revealed that a special type of bacteria, astrophage 771, was also present. This means that there is life on planet Adrian. As soon as Rocky heard this, he said that there must be some creature on this planet that is killing the astrophage just like a predator. That's why the astrophage are under control here and haven't become powerful enough to damage the sun. If we take this bacteria that eats astrophage back to our own planets, we could save our suns too. Now both of them thought that this bacteria must be in the clouds where the astrophage reproduce, but their ship wasn't designed to go into the atmosphere. Rocky said that they could make a long chain, lower it down and collect samples with it. To this, Ryland said it was just like fishing. But the problem was that Ryland was the scientist on the ship, not the pilot. He didn't have much experience flying the ship. That's why he practiced thoroughly, so that the ship wouldn't go too deep into the atmosphere, because then they'd get pulled into the planet. During practice, Rocky kept making videos for Earth, thinking that people on Earth were watching him live. Ryland told him, "Brother, this isn't live in the end. They'll send a probe which will have all this information and it will go to Earth." Hearing this, Rocky said, "You're going yourself, so why don't you take it?" To this, Ryland replied with a heavy heart, "Brother, I can't go back. I'll die here. I don't even have enough fuel to return." Hearing this, Rocky became very disheartened. He went off alone and did some calculations, and later he came to Ryland and quietly said, "You won't die. I'll give you fuel. I have enough fuel. I'll just travel a bit slower. It'll take me 4 years longer. But you'll make it back." Hearing this from his unknown friend, Ryland became very emotional. He hugged Rocky's bubble suit. Soon, the day to collect the sample arrived. Ryland brought the ship very close to the atmosphere and calmly sent the probe down. When the samples were ready, Ryland went outside to retrieve them. All of this was taking a lot of time, and the heat from the atmosphere was causing significant damage to the ship. Suddenly, a piece of metal broke off and struck Ryland, causing him to lose consciousness. Seeing this, Rocky became extremely worried. He kept calling out Ryland's name again and again. After a while, when Ryland regained consciousness, he saw that the probe was still hanging by the chain. The temperature kept rising, so Rocky said, "Come back inside, brother. We'll collect a new sample later." But Ryland replied that it wouldn't be possible to do it again. He moved forward to get the probe, but another piece of metal hit him and he got tangled in the tether. He cut the rope with a knife and, holding onto the ship with just his hands, barely managed to get back inside. The ship managed to get away from planet Adrian, but a part of it was still breaking apart and there was a constant risk of an explosion. Ryland ran the engines at full power so that the ship could get away quickly. Once they reached a safe distance, the engines were shut off, but even then, the ship started spinning out of control. When Ryland checked, he found that there was a hole in the fuel tank and fuel was leaking from 2 containers. The situation was dangerous, so they had to jettison those fuel containers to save the ship and keep the mission going. Now the ship was shaking violently. At such high speed, it was difficult to press the buttons, but Ryland did not lose courage. He managed to separate both fuel containers after trying hard. As soon as they were detached, the ship started moving straight again. But due to the sudden jolt, both Ryland and Rocky lost consciousness. After a while, Ryland regained consciousness. He tried to press the button to start the spinning gravity machine so that it would be easier to operate the ship from inside. But he had run out of strength. He lost consciousness again. Rocky also regained consciousness. He tried to talk to Ryland, but the translator wasn't working. He became very anxious. Out of necessity, he came out of his safety bubble. The environment outside was causing his body pain. Even so, he went himself and pressed the buttons. Then, with great difficulty, Rocky managed to get Ryland to the first aid room where the medical robots began treating Ryland. After doing all this, poor Rocky himself lost consciousness. After quite some time, Ryland regained consciousness. He saw some marks on the floor that looked like Rocky's blood. Following those marks, he moved forward. After a while, he felt relief because Rocky had returned to his safety bubble and was resting, but there was no way to know whether he was really resting or if he had died. Now, just like before, Ryland went and slept next to him. Later, when Ryland turned on the computer, he found a message from Rocky. Rocky had written that they needed to save their respective homes. That's why Ryland immediately got to work. He tested and confirmed that he had found the bacteria that eats astrophage. He named this bacteria Tomiba. Then he grew it in xenonite containers and made some modifications so that it could also survive in Venus's atmosphere. Days passed, but Rocky still hadn't woken up. To encourage Rocky, he even stuck little drawings on his bubble. After a while, Ryland slept for a bit. Suddenly, a sound woke him up. He saw that Rocky had recovered. Overjoyed, he immediately hugged Rocky. Now together they checked how much of the bacteria had grown. By now, a sufficient amount of bacteria had been prepared. This meant they could go home. Both of them celebrated and watched colorful fireworks burst in the sky. Rocky put on a special kind of clothing by covering his hands and feet with xenonite and explained that they wear this on special occasions. Ryland made paper hats. At the same time, he gave Rocky a collection filled with human knowledge. He gave Rocky a laptop filled with human knowledge, and as a keepsake, a spongy ball as well. Rocky felt bad that he had nothing to give in return, so Ryland said that as a gift, Rocky could show him his ship. When the two ships docked together again, Ryland put on a suit made of xenonite. Rocky gave him a tour of his ship. Ryland was amazed to see their impressive tag. During this, an old memory came back to him. Just 3 days before their mission launch, Ryland and Eva were talking. Suddenly, in the lab, something happened in the lab and the building caught fire. It turned out that the explosion in the lab was caused by a mistake made while handling the astrophage. In this accident, the scientist astronaut who was supposed to go on the mission was killed. There was no time to train a new scientist, so Eva asked Ryland to go on the mission. But Ryland refused. An argument broke out between them. Eva reminded him that he had nothing to lose, that he was the perfect candidate. No family, no close friends, not even a pet dog. She told Ryland that in 3 Take 3 hours and think about it. After the 3 hours were up, Ryland told Ava that he still didn't want to go on the mission. Ava tried to explain to him that it was necessary for the good of everyone. She said, "Admit it, you might die in space, but if this mission doesn't succeed, everyone here will die. The children you've taught, innocent people, women, the elderly, the young, everyone will die." Now Ryland tried to run away, but security caught him and gave him a sedative, after which he was forcibly sent onto the ship. In the present time, Rocky helped Ryland repair the damage to his ship. Now, it was truly time to return home. Both of them became very emotional as they said goodbye to each other. Before leaving, Ryland, in true hero fashion, said to Rocky, "All right, brother, we'll meet again." But Rocky replied, "That's a strange thing to say because we're never going to meet again." To this, Ryland said, "You should never be so sure about things." Then, both of them set off in their separate directions, and Ryland had to learn to live alone once again. A little while later, the ship's AI system, Mary, informed him that there was contamination inside the ship. Some alien organism had entered. Ryland immediately shut down the engine and went to check. He saw that the bacteria, Taumiba, had broken open the container of xenonite. He quickly put all the bacteria into a sealed container, but then he remembered, what about Rocky? His entire ship was made of xenonite. If Taumiba got there, it would consume the fuel and Rocky would be stranded in space. Ryland quickly did the calculations. He could not save himself and reach Earth. He didn't have enough fuel to do both things, but he couldn't bear to let his best friend die. So, he put all his research and a large sample of Taumiba into a probe and sent it toward Earth, just like the original plan. After that, he changed the ship's course and calculated where Rocky would be. A few days later, he finally found Rocky's ship. Ryland went outside and did a spacewalk to reach him. He shouted loudly. He knocked on the hatch. Rocky came and brought him inside. Many years later, the probe finally reached Earth. Ava saw Rocky in the recordings. Earth's temperature had dropped significantly, but now people had a way to save their sun. On the other hand, we see Rocky's planet, which had already been saved. Because of Ryland, the aliens thanked him and created a place for him just like Earth. He also learned the aliens' language, and now, without a translator, he could directly talk to Rocky. One day, Rocky told him that the scientists had built a new spaceship, so if Ryland wanted, he could return to Earth. But Ryland said he needed some time to think about it. Hearing this, Rocky happily replied, "Brother,